It's Adas. And this past week, Sarah and I went live and we did our talk on overcoming procrastination or examining procrastination. And I want to do a quick overview because unfortunately the sound was not like it should have been. I crackled. I didn't know I was crackling. But since I now am going to make one without crackling, all right, we're just going to talk and go over some quick statistics, and we're going to take a look very quickly, kind of do an overview of what we talked about for an hour this past Thursday. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, and sorry, I am going to look at some notes because we're dealing with statistics here, so I apologize that I'm looking down. Statistic is not off the cuff here. But I want to point out some statistics because I don't think people realize that procrastination is such a huge problem. In fact, it states here that more people struggle with procrastination than suffer with alcoholism, substance abuse, and depression. So that's huge. So more people struggle with procrastination than alcoholism, substance abuse, or depression. So this is a big problem. The question as to why we struggle with procrastination is pretty huge, and nobody seems to have nailed the problem yet. However, we're going to look at one thing about the problem, and that is the fear of the unknown, or fear and the tentacles of that, fear of rejection, all right, fear of the unknown, and some other things. So some other statistics on procrastination is interesting because in 1970 or in the 70s, they appears to be that only 5% of adults were considered to be chronic procrastinators. Today, it's in the 20 percentile. So it's at least up to 20%, if not 25, closing in on 30% of all adults say they have a chronic procrastination issue. So that's like, 1 out of every 4. 25%, right? Okay, or 25 out of 100. That's a fairly big number. And what's interesting is that there is a note that as lines between work and life blur, procrastination is becoming increasingly more common, especially forms of bedtime procrastination. Hello! When I was a kid, I hated to go to bed. The reason I hated to go to bed is I felt like I was going to miss something. And today, my biggest struggle to getting to bed on time is not that I feel like I'm going to miss something, but I feel like I could just do one more thing before I go to sleep. Like extending that time and putting out one more piece of content is going to make tomorrow better. Well, it never does. In fact, the earlier I go to bed, the earlier I get up makes the day better. And I actually always find that if I put off what I could be doing late at night while I'm nodding off, right? And I do it first thing in the morning, I get it done 10 times faster because I am a morning mind person. I think best in the morning. Now, not everybody does, but for me, that works better. So, but it's interesting also as an entrepreneur, as somebody who works out of their house, all right, I don't know if that has had any effect on procrastination for me, but I can see how it could. I've been doing it so long, probably since the 70s. I've been doing it so long that I've got quite a really well-established routine. I haven't been going into an office for a very long time. So, but people that do, they have to completely build their lives around their outside office time. So, they stop on the way home from work and they pick up food, or they order, or, they have a different concept. But once, those lines get blurred and you're in the house, then you really do, find that you have to create a different system. Okay, that's enough said on that. Now, how about this one? Women are twice as likely as men to suffer from bedtime procrastination. Now, I don't know why that is, but okay, we like to watch movies before we go to sleep, or some show or something. We like to, have sugar plums dancing around in our heads, I guess, when we want to go to bed. All right, or we have, we worry a lot more. I am not sure. I'm a good sleeper, and I'm not sure why that is, but okay. People with low self-confidence, difficult setting realistic goals, task aversion, high levels of distractibility and impulsivity are most likely to fall victim to procrastination. Okay. All right. That is so true, because if you haven't put it on paper, what you're going to do, if you just keep all this stuff in your head and you don't have a plan to execute, you will procrastinate more. Absolutely true. I guess I should probably touch a little bit more on that. Sorry, I didn't mean to do a sigh there or pause, but I was like, oh, I want to touch more on this. So I was sighing because I really didn't want to move on. All right, so low self-confidence. And I find that to be so true. Two things you do: you build up your mindset, you build up your skill sets. Difficulty setting realistic goals, we just talked about that, how important it is to put a plan in action. But a planner does not make a plan. And this is why we created the Blockit Planner, because we are actually teaching you how to plan. And to plan a project, it doesn't mean putting it on a piece of paper. It doesn't even mean creating a battle board. It actually has to incrementally unfold, and that's what we teach you to do. Now, with that said, all right, task aversion. If you are not a task person, you will avert tasks. I have bought every possible app that exists of to-do list to put all my tasks, right? I'm not a task person. I'm a visionary. Very different. I complete projects in a different way. And if you give me a bunch of tasks, you're going to still be sitting with that list a week later. I'm motivated completely differently. However, Sarah, she is a task like ninja, right? She loves tasks. So you give her a task list and she'll be boom, 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 boom. Very different thinking. However, there's a lot more I'll say about that, a lot more we did say in our talk. So we'll talk more about that in different areas. But nevertheless, if you're not a task person, task aversion will be right at the top of the list until you learn how to block time. And instead of attacking something as a task, you begin to attack it as a part or an increment of a project that has a goal attached, not a goal, but a vision attached to it. Really important. There is a huge difference between goals and vision. And when you put purpose, see, goals, right, they're like an end result. But a purpose is something that sits with you every day. When you attach purpose and vision to what you are trying to accomplish, you will find you'll go 10 times farther, faster, and you will get the things done on your list. Now, what that purpose is, what that vision is unique to you. However, we have to change and shift how you look at projects and how you look at tasks. All right, which is the incremental breakdown, usually, of a project. Okay. And then it says here, High levels of distractibility and impulsivity are most likely to fall victim to procrastination. You know, we are subject to that. There is not one human being that has a smartphone or is connected to the internet that is not subject to distractibility, impulsivity. However, it is not difficult to contain. Now, I have friends that are always on their phones, and I don't know why, they keep the sound on their phone always open. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I hear that sound, I get distracted. So if I'm going to focus on something, I have got to turn that sound off. Sure, I can have my stereo playing, you know, I have that surround sound and I can have that playing in the background. That's not the same. But when I have to work on something, I cancel, silence all notifications until I'm done with that block of time. And it's not a hard thing to learn or to put in motion. And that's one of the subjects we're going to be talking about. But let me just give you a little insight right now. People say that to create a habit, you need 21 days, 60 days, 30 days, 45 days. None of that works, because I've done 45 days, 60 days, 30 days, 21 days, and given the right climate, I will fall back into my old patterns that quick, just that quick. And there is one way, though, to create a habit in one day, and that is to connect a habit to a habit, to connect the habit you want to create to a habit, to connect a trigger regarding the habit you want to implement to something that you already do, and you do it good, you do it consistently, and you do it right. When you connect those two, you will be surprised at how fast a habit can be created. Now, I'll be talking a lot more about that later, but one of the habits you must learn is how to reduce distraction and impulsivity. Now, that's a habit. And we're going to be talking more about that, because these two things are actually triggers for distraction. And I apologize, triggers for procrastination. So if you want to procrastinate, you turn on the TV, you can scroll through social media when you should be reading something or doing some work or doing something else, and it becomes a real, actually, habit connected to procrastinating when you need to be getting things done. So let's work on that. And then, all right, we're already in 13 minutes. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna stop this video. This will be like part 1. I will see you in the next video.